Talking about Etsy in this one, I know it's a super exciting topic. Oh, the joy of talking about Etsy. But I was thinking it may be helpful to some of you. Recently, I've done a lot of research on going about selling my photography prints and doing it in a way as to not take on a bunch of overhead while testing out whether prints are going to sell or not, whether this idea I have of selling prints is going to work, but not losing a lot of money, in between figuring that out. So I think Etsy is a really good platform for testing that in the short term, but in the long term, I wouldn't necessarily suggest Etsy. So that's what this video is all about, is the positives and negatives that I've found about Etsy and how it fits into what I'm trying to do as far as selling photography prints. And I hope this is helpful to you too, in case that might be something that you're trying to figure out. But let's start with the positives. And the first one is ease of use. Their platform, well, actually, let me back up. The first one is proof of concept. Being able to utilize their platform at a low cost. There's no monthly fees. There's only fees if you sell something. So you're able to use it as a proof of concept for selling a product. So that's the big one, or one of the big ones. The next one would be the ease of use with their platform. There's a lot of factors that go into selling a print, I've discovered, as far as creating, the profile for it. You've got your different sizes that you may want to sell of a print, and then you've got your different papers or, canvas. And so being able to add all of those elements for a potential customer to choose from is a lot to input. And it's really nice when the platform that you're using has made it really simplistic and easy to do. And from kind of trying some other platforms, I've realized this is something that, Etsy really gets right. They've really, you can tell, honed in how to make it easy to add different options to something that you're selling. So that one, I would say, is a huge one for them, a definite huge positive. Another big positive that I never thought I would be discussing in a video is sales tax. And here in the US, our system is incredibly convoluted and frustrating. Sales tax is different, across the nation. And when you're selling stuff online, from what I've researched, you ultimately need to be able to charge someone based on where they live and then distribute funds to that particular place. Or state. And so this is another one that, Etsy has really done right, in that they have an automated system as opposed to manual, which a lot of other platforms have. And their automated system takes care of it. It charges the correct amount for where that person lives and then distributes that automatically on your behalf. You don't have to think about it, which takes a lot off of your plate. As where some other platforms that I've interacted with or researched, they don't do that. They have more of a manual option where you can go in and type in various amounts for areas. Well, that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You'd be doing that all day, every day. It's just, what a waste of time to not be able to have it automated. And from my research, if you are looking for other options, you've got something like Squarespace or Shopify. I also have tried something like SquareUp, which is the company that will charge credit cards for companies. They have a free website option that I had delved into and tried, and unfortunately with them, it's a manual thing. You aren't able to do it in an automated way. So, it varies from place to place, and this is just one thing that I never thought I'd be discussing, but Etsy really gets it right when making it automated and taking it off your plate. Another big thing with Etsy that's nice is that they have built-in traffic, which is huge for kind of trying to get you maybe off the ground a little faster. And then another big positive that I really like with them is that they have reviews built in. So, people can leave a review for you, and that's going to help you a lot when it comes to trying to get other potential customers to buy your work. So that, I think, covers all the positives. Let's dive into the negatives, where I really would not use Etsy as a long-term solution. For me, it's really in the short term to prove to myself that this is going to work, this idea of selling my prints, and that I can take that over to another platform that I have more control of and can have in the long term. So the big one for me with Etsy is they have too much control over being able to shut you down. If you research this, you will have no problems finding tons of videos on YouTube of people discussing this. And where I kind of ran into this issue is I was trying to adjust from a sole proprietorship. And when I did that, their automated system couldn't confirm my new documentation. And so they shut my profile down and my store down. And only until I switched back to sole proprietorship was I able to keep it running or keep it open and start, putting in some prints to sell. And when I tried to contact someone at Etsy, what a joke that is. I've had more luck contacting someone at Amazon, which is a huge online company, and you wouldn't think you'd really be able to get through to someone, but I had more luck there than actually getting... I gave up, basically. I never was able to get a hold of someone at Etsy, which I feel is just a real letdown to their customer base. I hope that they turn that around. I hope that they are watching the kind of feedback that they're getting from their customer base, maybe noticing that sales are declining because of the fact that they've got people leaving the platform and there's less products to be sold because they don't have any kind of, solid support. They've based way too much on automation. But yeah, that being said, you could build this really big brand with them, be counting on it for your income and paying bills, and then they turn off the lights to your store. How awful. I just can't even imagine that feeling is so undermining and debilitating, and you've put all this time and effort. So that is ultimately the biggest reason I would not stick with Etsy as a long-term solution, and I'm just going to use it in the short term. Because if you move over to, another resource like Shopify or Squarespace, they're not going to just shut down your store for any reason, other than I imagine that you're not paying them. Otherwise, I can't see them really shutting you down. So I think there's a lot of other great options out there. The only dilemma is that now you are paying a monthly fee to have those resources, as opposed to Etsy, where you're paying when something is sold. Now, that brings me to another negative for Etsy, which is their cost. When Etsy first started, I want to say they were like 3.5%, something like that, when you sold something. But now it's 20 cents to add something to be sold, which is not a big deal. That's great. But when you do sell something, now you're looking at like 6.5%, and then their credit card fee is like another 3%. So you're right around that 9.5-10% range when you sell something, which is really cutting into your profit margin and adding to your overhead. And I just feel it's a bit on the expensive side. I wish it was better pricing. So for me, I feel like that is a negative, that their price point is too high as far as their fees go. Although, that being said, I do appreciate that they don't charge you that until you've actually sold something. One other negative that they could easily change, which I wish they would, is they've got a feature where you can add a video for your product, which I was really digging the idea of, to be able to connect better with, whatever audience you may have thinking about purchasing. And they strip the audio from it, which makes no sense to me. So I'm really hoping that they transition that and that they allow audio at some point for their videos. But currently, that's not the case. To sum everything up, again, I think that Etsy is an incredible resource for proof of concept, being simplistic to use and to utilize. But on the negative side, I think that they have way too much power to pull the rug out from under you at any point in time. And that you should have, a plan moving forward on your long-term goal of where you're going to move your product or your photography prints once, you have proven to yourself that you can sell them. But if you've got any advice, you've had any experience, please leave it below. If you can add to the conversation, and that would be fantastic. I really appreciate. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. Oh, link below, of course, for my Etsy store. If you may want to buy a print, I greatly appreciate it. All right. See you in the next one. Bye.